Welcome back once again to Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here to try to bring you some good tunes. It's what we do. I'm a slave to the good music, you know. I like to keep it mellow, but he's gotta be space trucking, trying to find these awesome tracks. And I'm telling you, we've been doing this a long time now, and trying to find these tunes is more harder than it was in the beginning. That's for damn sure. But never before have I seen a great strand of episodes like we've had the last few weeks for you, our musers of the world. So many great albums, mostly 70s. I can't complain. So it's been a good freaking time. But let me introduce my always faithful co host. You may recognize where he is when you see the smoke on the water, which just means he's chilling by the bay with Mona Lisa and the Mad Hatters having a good time. He's a honky cat that when he takes off his shirt in front of his lady friend, she just sits there going, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. So proud of so proud of him. He's a rocket man in the head. Maybe he's a Leo, I don't know. But you've never seen him before. Chancey motherfucking Greif.
Yeah.
Hi.
You got him. You got him. And that's right, folks. We're back once again with another episode, three great albums, and another amazing guest. And honestly, you guys are going to love this guest. I already loved him from talking to him for a few minutes before we went live. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today, recording artist, author, and so much more, Tenderbastard.
Yeah, look at Tenderbastard. I thought a ghost grabbed me there. I started floating away. I'm like, oh, come back. Come back. We got to do the show.
Yes, we do. How you doing tonight, Tenderbastard?
I'm doing well despite everything. And when I say everything, I do mean everything. Just, yeah.
In this day and age, he ain't fucking kidding, folks. So hell yeah. But, yeah.
If anybody with the ability to make things better, as all leaders do, the assumption is I can make it better. Anyone that was going to make it better would have done it already. Nobody wants to make it better, so it's not going to get better, folks. Sorry.
I think everybody learned their lesson when all the people who were trying to make things better all miraculously and mysteriously just kind of got shot by nobody.
Oh yeah. And I've been to the Dakota in New York City, 72nd Central Park West, where John Lennon and Yoko Ono lived, and I'm pretty sure John Lennon was assassinated by the CIA. As I went there and I tried to get in the building, and I didn't see the guard over on the side. I saw the guard in the back talking to a girl, and I thought, man, I just have to get to the stairs and take some pictures with the guy on the side. And I looked at him like this. I went, like I was guilty, and he goes, "You don't belong here." And then the other guy, and they walked me out, and I'm standing there, and I'm thinking, this is one of those situations where the police will show up, and I thought I was going to be the black and white, the NYPD. So we crossed the street into Central Park, and as I look back, I hear three white vans with blue tinted windows, six people jump out, Homeland Security. I was shocked to see that Homeland Security would come to a private residence. So I'm going with the theory that he was assassinated. So that's my story, and I'm loosely sticking to it, at least anyway. Then I'll back away.
Well, Shannon, thank you for watching as always. Apparently, she thinks you drink tobacco from the bottle, Chancey. Tabasco.
Oh, well,
And Mark, thank you for watching. New watcher. And that's right, folks. As always, we brought you these albums three, and the first album of the night, well, our guest, I will say first and foremost, sent me a list of albums to choose from. And the very first album on that list I had to choose because we haven't done it yet, and I felt that was a damn shame after over 100 episodes of this. So I had to pick that one. What album did I pick, Tenderbastard, and why was it number one on your list? That's what I'm kind of curious about.
What's that? What album did I pick or did you pick?
Well, what album did I pick from your list is more the question.
Oh, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Yeah.
Uh,
I, I do have a lot of people that I like, including Deep Purple. If I'm not giving too much away, but I don't have a favorite Deep Purple album, and so I just thought I don't have a favorite Beatles album, and it would have to be one of the last three: the White Album, Let It Be, or Abbey Road. But I don't. I mean, I just like all the Beatles. I don't have a favorite Doors album. I like them more live. So there are a lot of people that I was thinking. Like I was like, okay, I don't have a favorite album, but with Bowie, Ziggy Stardust. Um, I I must have heard it on vinyl first. I might have heard it with headphones and being stoned. I think all three of our albums are 72 again. I think they're all that year. Um,
yes, they are.
I don't know what I was expecting going into Ziggy Stardust. I had probably heard Hunky Dory with Bowie on the cover in a dress. Changes is the big song on there. And that was pretty good. I think I heard The Man Who Sold the World. I don't remember anything from it or if it had a hit on it. But when I got a hold, I don't know if it was suggested to me or how it came to be in my hands on vinyl. But when I put it on, it just was one of those favorite albums. I can put it in probably one of the top 10. And I think Ziggy Stardust might be the only album that I can listen to too loud. And I won't say, hey, that's too loud. It's a good example of, I think, folk rock, although you don't really think of the folk in there. But I think Bowie was snorting a lot of cocaine, living in LA, sleeping in a pyramid, and that character just came to him. And I think he wrote all the songs as that character. I don't think he wrote them as himself for the character. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that album is just probably in one of my top 10 albums of all time.
Well, I'll give my review next, I guess, and so, I mean, I should actually, since I'm the one who actually picked it out of the list, because one, just off of name recognition, it was the only album on that list I recognized, like just from like without having to dig into every album and like see like, oh yeah, I know this one. Like it was the one I recognized first and foremost. I saw that album, and I'm like, the rest of this doesn't matter. We haven't. I think we've had one Bowie album on the show. I think actually Chancey brought it a couple episodes ago, if I'm not mistaken. But oh, was the guest?
It had to have been.
Oh yeah, because then we. Oh no. Maybe I'm thinking of Changes being on the Rolling Stone bracket a couple of times ago.
Yeah.
But so it's the
Bowie
first
was
time
on
we've
the
had.
most recent one.
Okay, yeah, Changes was that because when you said Changes, I immediately like thought of that. So, but yeah, I mean, so we haven't had a Bowie album on yet, and I'm like, all right, if I'm picking any album off this list,
What the hell's wrong with you guys?
well, it's always based on what the guest brings. That's what we base our albums around. So, I mean, we've done a couple Mano y Mano episodes, but I mean, it's been a while, and we tend to bring more outrageous albums than that guests don't want to hear usually. So, I mean, but so I mean, I saw Bowie, and I'm like, we haven't done Bowie yet. I gotta go with Bowie again. It's fucking Ziggy Stardust. I mean,
And,
I
and I
love,
wonder,
I love. Oh, go ahead.
good. I wonder if that's his biggest selling album too. I know he did a lot of albums after, and I've been listening to Bowie this week. I just listened to Heroes today, and that's another of his. What's one of his three Berlin albums that after about because it was Ziggy Stardust in 72, 73 was probably Aladdin Sane. I'm not certain, but then 74 was, I'm pretty sure, is Diamond Dogs. And then I think he, Lou Reed, and Iggy Pop all moved to Berlin. And I don't know what Iggy Pop and Lou Reed did in maybe Lou Reed did Rock and Roll Animal with Sweet Jane on it. But Bowie had Low, Heroes, and one other album. And Low and Heroes are mostly instrumental. His record company let him put out nearly no lyrics. I don't think Low has one song toward the end of The Sound and Vision. I don't even remember how, but yeah, it's like one song. I'm going, these are a little different. This is not Bowie strutting around being himself. But I think I would bet a little bit of money that Ziggy Stardust is still his biggest selling record.
I would actually, I would bet money on that too, because I mean, that's how I always knew David Bowie was the name Ziggy Stardust. I mean, I didn't realize there were I didn't realize there were two different people for a long time. Like when I was a kid, when I was a kid and I'd hear the song and I would like hear like references to Ziggy Stardust, I always thought it was a person separate from David Bowie, and that David Bowie like did like an album about this person or something. But I mean, I love any musician that can step into a character role and fucking like do a whole album based on it. I mean, I'm a juggalo, so that goes with the flow. But
But I,
this
but I don't. Go ahead.
this album, I don't. I love this album. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This whole album, I freaking enjoyed the hell out of. It was a cinematic ear. It was a cinematic masterpiece for the ear, basically. And I mean, I always liked Bowie when I heard him. I never really dug deep into him, but I always loved him when I heard him, and that's why I picked this album because I wanted to have Bowie on the show finally. And there's no better album to start with than Ziggy Stardust. That's for damn sure. So I'm happy I picked it for you.
But I don't think there's any real hit song on it. I know there's Ziggy. Ziggy played guitar, but I don't think
Starman.
Yeah.
Was that a big radio hit for him? I don't remember. I don't know that there's any big, but even with that being said, I think it's still his biggest album and certainly my favorite and my most recent novel. I can show you this. Will that come in? Can you see?
A little lower. Lower.
Poof. It has a quote on the because it has Osiris the Alien in it. It has a quote on the. I guess it's called the quote page that on this page of quotes. One of the quotes is David Bowie. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our mind. I'm like, there you go, because it's got aliens. So I thought that was coincidental or otherwise. But yeah, just a great album. I think is that the first album that Mick Ronson played with him. I don't remember the drummer's name or the bass player, but it's not overly. It's not Mick Ronson's. When Mick Ronson plays guitar, that's it. But it's not on every song. It's not like It's not like Angus Young, where he's just in every song he's gonna go wild and play. But just a great album. And I don't know how many people are we live.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So I don't know how many people watching now know the album, but if you want to hear a great album, check out David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, and the Spiders from Mars. I wonder how he came up with that. The Spiders. I think that's interesting.
I'm guaranteeing he saw an old sci-fi movie and that's kind of how he got it. But I'm assuming at least one of those 50s sci-fi movies he probably saw, and I'm pretty sure there actually is a movie called Spiders from Mars from that time period, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong.
And
but
yeah, go ahead.
Chancey, what did you think of David Bowie?
So I'm just gonna be real honest. There's like maybe 5 songs that David Bowie's done that I actually enjoy.
Name them. Which ones?
Fame, Changes. Oh, come on, Chance. Starman was pretty good. I always felt Starman was pretty good. If you want to count the collab that he did with Freddie Mercury for Under Pressure, you could count that as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, man.
And I'm having a trouble coming up with the last
Yeah,
one. But for me, it was just I can't really explain it because
Rebel
like
Rebel.
yeah, it was
Got
just kind of one of the like it just didn't click for me.
yeah,
David Bowie, David Bowie just never clicked for me. I always, I had never listened to a David Bowie album in its entirety before, so it was kind of one of those things where it was like, all right, this will be my full fledged to giving it a solid college, well, the GED attempt anyway.
who
and
produced it? I don't know who produced Ziggy Stardust.
I don't remember either. I don't remember seeing it online, or
It
why
it
didn't.
might have it might have been Mick Ronson. Although no, man. Well, maybe who was the guy that did the I forget his name. He did the Berlin albums. But Mick Ronson went on to become a producer of a lot of things that are famous. He put together, and John Mellencamp was about to throw away Jack and Diane, and Mick Ronson stepped in and put it all together and said what you go where and put this and produced it. I never
Uh,
knew that all those years that Mick Ronson produced at least Jack and Diane. I don't know what Mellencamp album that is on. But does anybody
the
know which album? Wouldn't be able to. I can't think of which.
the number 5 David Bowie song I remembered was "The Man Who Sold the World."
Oh, interesting. That's from before Ziggy Stardust. I thought that's the Man Who Sold the World. Yeah, I think that's the album before. Does anyone know if Mark Ronson, who produced at least Amy Winehouse, is he the son of Mick Ronson, or is it just a
I mean,
coincidence? They're both and they both have the
it's po-
same
it's
names.
possible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you for sure. I really don't pay much attention to who produces CDs. I mean, I pay more attention. I just pay attention to the music. I mean, whoever's behind it, I congratulate them all. But I am not gonna pay like really attention to the names of it all. I don't even know who the
Mick,
fucking drummer is for most bands I listen to. So I mean, that's just
Mick,
me.
Mick Ronson was walking down the street with Amy Winehouse, and I guess they were talking about her going to rehab. And she said, they tried to make me go to rehab, but I said no, no, no. And he just went, Amy, there's your lyric, there's your hook for that big song, and that was her breakout song. So he heard it, but yeah.
Yeah, I always loved Amy Winehouse. She had such great talent.
No, I did too. Now I moved. There's a third time I was in Boston. I guess it had to be 2000. It was like July 1st, and I'd stayed up all night. I rented for a month this old factory arts building loft, and I stayed up all night with my dog, and we were sipping gin. And then in the morning, I went out and took a walk, and I ended up doing for the whole month. I saw Chinese people doing Tai Chi in Washington Park, and they were like, "Come every day and do Tai Chi with us." So I did, but so I just got home, and I thought that was so cool. What a gift to have Chinese people tell me to do Tai Chi with them. And then I had the radio on, and it said famed English singer songwriter Amy Winehouse. I went, no. And they said she was dead at that famous. She's a member of the 27 or the 28 club. And
27
27
Club.
Club. Yeah.
and she only made 2 albums. She only made 2. No one else got her into the studio. No one intervened. No one had an intervention with her. And she had tried heroin supposedly with her boyfriend that went to jail, but it was alcohol ultimately that did her in. I think is what they
Yeah,
said.
Yeah.
it's one of the most dangerous things to quit.
Ah,
Yeah,
Amy Winehouse
it can
dead.
kill you
Oh,
it can kill you within the first week if you try to do it cold turkey.
and there's a kid. There's a guy named. You remember what's his Keith Whitley, a country singer that came up with Ricky Skaggs, and he was married to Lori Morgan. He was famous. He had great songs on the radio, and I guess he was an alcoholic. He's from Kentucky, and he wanted Lori Morgan to stop touring, and she didn't want to. So in a panic, he drank 2/5 of whiskey, and he died. Yeah, he just dropped. He downed them, and then boom, that was his body said, "All right, we got to go." So incredible.
Yeah, I mean, two fifths of whiskey is no fucking joke. One fifth will put you close to the deathbed. So two, like,
I,
yeah, but
I've drank 2 bottles of wine by myself, and
that
I remember.
might.
I don't know if it's a dream or reality, but I remember crawling to the bathroom, puking, and then crawling back to bed and getting in. And there was no sign. I didn't puke on the floor. There was not, and I flushed the toilet. So I don't really know if it was a dream or not. But I'm pretty sure I drank 2 bottles of Chardonnay, and I thought it was fine when I went to bed. But maybe I was. Maybe it was a dream. I don't know. I'm
That's a
not
pretty.
sure.
That'd be a pretty fucked up dream to have while drinking. But
Yeah, that's funny. I'm thinking that. I think it actually happened.
yeah, I was gonna say, kind of. I would almost imagine this run the rum possibility there. But so Tender
Yeah.
Bastard, what were your top 5 tracks off of Ziggy Stardust,
Uh,
if you had to
um,
pick?
The first one is the first song, 5 Years. It really sounds like an opening track song, especially if you just go down the list, which I'm sure they did. Um, they probably all talked about what should be first, and so 5 Years is the first one, and then I like them all. I'll tell you, there's one weak song on there, Stone Love. It's probably Stone Love. She kneels before her son's grave, or whatever, and Moon Age Starman, of course. Lady Stardust. That's kind of nice because he weaves about a guy and a girl. So I thought that was interesting. And the fifth song is Ziggy Played Guitar. At least those 5. But I think this album has all strong songs except one, and I can't really see what it is. It's just a little weak. But yeah, that's the 5. And just
Well,
just a great album.
we had some in common. I mean, I had 4 honorable mentions for the CD because it's so fucking great. I could not. But
Yeah.
I'm in the same mindset as you. There's one song I can't remember the fuck the name of it is. Actually, didn't I just have it fucking up? Yeah, there it is. What was this? Oh, yeah, I think it was "Hang On to Yourself." I think that's the "Hang On to Yourself" and "It Ain't Easy." To me, those were the 2 weak tracks. They just sounded too
It ain't easy is the
non-Bowie.
way it ain't easy reminds me of on Bob Dylan's Blood on the Tracks. Meet me in the morning, 56 and Wabasha. And I always thought that was a weak weak song on. Now I'm telling Bob Dylan what other songs are weak. It was Blood on the Tracks. But what was the other one you said? The up tempo. I didn't mind that. It was pretty good. It's
Yeah,
stepping and moving along. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, but those are the 2 tracks I would think were weaker on this album. I mean, my number 9 was "Soul Love" because "Soul Love" is a beautiful song, but just bottom of the
Soul Love
list.
or Stone Love? Stone Love with the
It's
saxophone.
it's called "Soul Love," I believe.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
"Soul Love."
On Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, it's called "Soul Love," SOUL.
Sing a little bit of it and
Couldn't if
tap
I
dance
tried.
and tap dance while you're doing it
I was gonna say,
and do
please don't.
yeah.
Chancey hears me. Chancey hears me sing. Chancey hears me singing up in this fucking app show. So, but Lady Stardust is my number 8 because that is a beautiful song as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Starman's actually number 7. I mean, it's a good song, but it's number 7 for me. I found 6 better songs in my opinion. But
What
number
are
6 is. I'm sorry.
what are the other ones better than Starman?
Well, my number 6 is Moonage Daydream. I thought that
Oh,
song was kind of trippy, and it reminded me of some other bands. But
freak out. Okay.
number 5 was Star, because Star is a fucking amazing song. I mean, almost reminiscent of what the fuck's that Voice Cult song? And Johnny's gonna play in his rock and roll band. Fuck, it's one of the best Voice Cult songs there is.
There's an album of Blue Oyster Cult, and someone introduces them. And they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, on your
Yes.
feet, you're on your knees, Blue Oyster Cult." And I'm like, "Damn,
No.
that's
No, not
is
it.
that
The
that's
song's all about a kid becoming like a rock star. Like he has a dream to become a rock star, and he becomes one.
Which song?
Uh,
The Blue Oyster
the
Cult.
voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
the
think
one,
that
the one I'm trying to think of.
to a song.
Oh, I think John Marshall, man. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm getting things confused with them. Two different songs. But my number 4 for Ziggy was 5 Years because that is a bomb opening track. As soon as I heard that opening
Yeah,
track, I was just like, okay.
yeah.
I was like, I'm
And
not gonna be disappointed with this fucking album. I'm not gonna be disappointed at all. I can already fucking tell you.
he would be apocalyptic at that point because I wasn't even at the point. I knew we had too many people on the planet, but he was saying 5 years and he said that and he thought, yeah, I'm going with that idea. I'm telling everybody we only got 5 years left. So I thought that was
It's pretty awesome. And I mean, my number 3, which I think is another radio hit from it, was Suffragette City, because that song was
yeah,
freaking the lyrics and guitar in that song were fucking incredible. Number 2 was Rock and Roll Suicide, because that's iconic. That's an iconic rock song right there. I mean, and it hits on a lot of fucking really hard topics within the rock world. So, and of course,
yeah,
number 1. What else could be number 1 but Ziggy Stardust? I mean, fucking
yeah.
Ziggy Stardust. It's one of the first examples of a artist really stepping into a role and playing that role throughout a whole album. And I love when they do that. Like when they pick up that personality and do like a theme album. Like I fucking love it.
Was he talking about Jimi Hendrix or was he taken from him? He goes, Ziggy played guitar, screwed up eyes and screwed down hairdo, like some cat from Japan. And then he goes, he played it left hand, and I always, and when I think of left hand guitar, you always go with Jimi Hendrix. So I don't know if that was a
I think he was just creating an original character who was like a spaceman who played guitar. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
I mean, drugs will make you think of miraculous things. But, Chancy, what were your top 5 for David?
So number 5 for me was Moon Age Daydream. Number 4 was Rock and Roll Sewer Slide, and number 3 is Suffragette City. Number 2 was Starman, and number 1 was Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
you hit most of mine at least, so no complaints. But since I gave my review first on this one, change things up a little bit for how it's usually done. I think I mean, when I picked this album for Tenderbastard here, and I mean, it was a list he gave me. It's not like I actually picked it, but
Yeah.
I looked at all the other albums that came out in '72, and I'm just like, because whenever it's a '70s album, that's kind of what I do. I just look at the year, because I mean, there's so many albums in the '70s that I never will be able to decide if I don't narrow it down somehow. So I'm like, all right, '72. We haven't done '72 yet, I'm pretty sure. And I came across a couple albums I was thinking of bringing, but I'm just like, none of these are really feeling like they're hitting home. And then I saw an album cover I recognized. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, that was '72. Oh, fuck yes. I'm like, all right, I brought this artist on a couple times already, but trying to bring on one of his best albums, because the last album I brought up to his was not anywhere near his best album. So, I mean, it was his first album, so it wasn't anywhere near his best. But I decided to bring on Sir Elton
Yeah.
John's Honky Chateau, which, I mean, it's one of his best albums. It's not the best album by far. I brought that one on first, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, it's one of his best albums. It has a couple of great hits on it, and it's just it's fucking out. It's Elton. It's Sir Elton John. Do I need to say more? He's a legend. He's a man. He's a living legend at this point still. I watched his farewell concert on Disney Plus last couple Thanksgivings ago, and he was just fucking phenomenal. Even at his older age now, he's still phenomenal. Like he's still a phenomenal performer. He still can do it like all. His singing has waned a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but he can still play piano like a madman. That's all that really matters to him. But I mean, so that's why I brought it in. It just went with the year really well. But what did you think of Honky Chateau there, Tender Bastard?
It's one of my favorite Elton John songs. That early time, it would have to be Honky Chateau, Tumbleweed Connection, and then if I was picking an Elton John favorite album, it would have to be, say it with me,
Goodbye,
Madman
yep.
Across Water.
Oh,
Again, I would say that's his.
that's funny. I was going to say Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
It doesn't as much for me. I mean, I just remember it's like Ziggy Stardust. I just remember all the songs, and the first time I heard the album in its entirety, it just came into me like Johnny McClane, American Pie. I remember we were all sitting in a room stoned. Waiting, and one guy went and got. He's going to the record store. And he's going to on the day that American Pie came out, and he brought it back. And he put it on the stereo like a religious experience, and we just all listened to it. I'm like, yeah. But Honky Chateau, you got to give it to Elton John and Billy Joel from that time period. Those two pianists and songwriters, just great stuff. What's on? First song was what? Honky Cat. And then Mellow, which I always like. I thought Mellow was very good. What's the next song? I wrote it up. I can't see what it is. And then Susie's very funky. Oh, and the big hit on there, which I wouldn't have known, Rocket Man, one of his biggest songs, had to be, is on that album.
Oh, God, yes.
And Salvation doesn't quite do it for me. Slave was it's more like country. It was very country-ish. And then I like Amy. I may not be 19. Amy, I may not be James Dean, but ooh, Amy, you are the girl that wrecked my dreams. I'm like, damn, that must be a good girl. And what's at the end here? Oh, I can't even read my writing. There are two more songs after that. But yeah, Elton John in that time period, you can't give it to anybody else. Elton John and Billy Joel. So, yeah.
Well, Chancey, what did you think of the Honky Chateau?
I mean, it was better than the last time he brought the Elton John album to the show.
It was his first album.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Is that the black and white one on the radio?
No.
Burn Definition and...
No, it was the first album it was his debut album. It just didn't have any real solid hits, and they were
Empty Sky. It was called Empty Sky.
Yeah.
Oof, what a horrible. Oh, don't want to hear that. Jesus. I didn't even know. I've never even known about Empty Sky.
So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It had a couple of tracks that were pretty damn decent on it, but it had no radio hits on it. It was.
They didn't have their legs underneath them yet.
Did you ever hear Bob Dylan's first album? Woo, it's all covers. Woo! But,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Every once in a while, people go, Bob Dylan can't sing. And I go, what's your point? What is your point? Like, he's probably the greatest American songwriter, or at least the most prolific. And he said, I've never written a song that I didn't have a deadline. That's pretty good. A deadline. And he had hits by 62. He's on the Johnny Cash show. If you go back and watch, he had Blowing in the Wind and The Times Are Changing and stuff. So interesting. But sorry, back to Sir Elton John.
You were saying, Chancey.
I mean, it was better than the last one, and it's not his worst album. So I mean, I enjoyed it. I was able to get a couple of here and there's out of it.
Yeah. It sounded to me on the piano, being a rudimentary piano player, he did a lot of like stuff like this, like two hands. It was very almost ragtime in a couple of the songs.
Yeah, I definitely was. I could hear that.
But I listened to the chords he's playing because he did it backwards. Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics first and then sent them to him, and then he put them into songs. Whereas the best songwriting either comes together or you have the music first, and you know how many syllables and things you're going to use for lyrics. But he did it backwards, got the lyrics, sat down, and rolled them out.
Oh, I mean, that's why he's Elton John, because he could do that shit and make it sound amazing. But,
What's his real name?
Off the top of my head, I honestly don't remember. I watched Rocket Man like a year ago, too, but I don't fucking... Actually, no, that was like...
Reginald something? Is he Reg?
I think you're right. It is. It's gonna kill me now if I don't think of it. But
yeah, Reginald. I don't know why he changed it. I don't know why he changed it to Elton from Reginald to Elton. I'm like, dude, you're not doing much better, but it worked.
Oh, Reginald Kenneth Dwight.
Dwight. Okay.
That's not a musician name. So I mean, actually, he could change it to Reggie Knight and got away with it and fucking did that shit. I could have seen that, but I mean, it would have worked with his style of music. But Elton John works better. But I actually had less on this one than I did on freaking Bowie. I had eight tracks on this one that I had to put on my list. My number 8 was Mellow because that is I never heard that song, but that is a really good song.
Yep.
Number
I like
seven,
it.
number 7 is I think I'm going to kill myself. But I mean, I kind of when I saw the title of the song, I'm like, I think this is going to be a dark song, knowing Elton and
Yeah.
like that time of his life. But it's like kind of comical song in a way. Like he does it in a very comedy based way instead of like a. I thought it was gonna be like a sad, depressing, like slow song or something. But and then my number six is the alternative track on the well, the Spotify playlist at least. Uh, it's the fast version of Slave because, like you said, the original version of Slave is a little too country, a little too slow for me.
Yeah.
But the fast version of Slave is actually fucking pretty badass. Like it's more Elton style in my opinion. So I enjoyed the shit out of the fast version of that. My number 5, of course, is Mona Lisa and Mad Hatters because that's a classic. That's a fucking
I forgot that at the end. That's what I had just the letters written up. That's a great song, and it has one of his songs that has mandolin in it.
yeah. I could hear that, and it's a beautiful song. I always love that song. But number 4 was Amy because you're right about that. Amy's a fucking fun song, and I
Yeah,
love his like ballads about that are just like single female names are fucking amazing. Like they always are. Like and Amy is just fucking amazing song. Number 3 was Hercules because it's not. I did not expect a song about a fucking cat, and it just blew me away.
is
Like it
that
just
what that
blew me.
song's about? That song's about a cat.
Well, I mean, he kept calling it Hercules the cat throughout the whole song, so I
Oh,
would assume.
damn, I missed that. Holy hell! But yeah, Hercules is good. Good way to go out too.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't
and then
have a slide. What's the one at the end? Whee! Doesn't have one of those. Is it a
yeah,
slide? I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
there's a slider at the end. Yeah, it's a fun song, and my number 2, of course, is Honky Cat because that's an incredible fucking song. I always love that song, and it's just like it's pure Elton. It's pure Elton. That actually sounds like his work from his first CD a little bit. Like that was the that's
It's the two hand stuff and very kind of funky,
it's yeah
kind of like ragtime almost, like Sky
it
Time to
is.
me. But
It's I would call it modern ragtime if anything. But I mean, and of course, number 1 is not going to be any other song than Rocket Man, of course, because Rocket Man is iconic. It's been used in so many aspects. The scene of Stewie Griffin singing on Family Guy is fucking amazing, and I mean, it's just such a classic song. Who doesn't? Everybody knows Rocket Man. She packed my bags pre-flight, and I mean, who
yeah,
what stoner hasn't listened to that and like and just taken a hit right in the fucking part where he says, "I'm gonna get high." Like who the fuck doesn't hit like hasn't hit a blunt at that point? Like it's just the way it goes. Like you have to as a kite. But I mean, Rocket Man's fucking incredible. I love that song, so it had to be number 1, of course.
yeah.
But
That propelled the album probably. You know
oh,
that was the hit on the
it
album. That was probably the number one song
it,
to
it
come out. And then Mona Lisa's Manhattan probably was a radio hit. And I don't know any others.
yeah, Honky Cat was too. Honky Cat was a radio play.
Yeah.
But Chancey, what were your top 5 for Sir Elton?
I had a couple honorables here. Number 7 was Rocket Man.
Ooh,
Number
you
6
would.
was I think I'm gonna kill myself.
Wait. No explanation for why Rocket Man is fucking last?
I didn't want to put the most popular.
There are albums I won't do that, but it's fucking Rocket Man. It kind of precedes that rule.
For you maybe, but not for me. I wanted to make
Exactly.
it. I wanted to make it a bit more sporty.
Hey man, yeah, he's American. He can do what he wants. He's, it's a free country.
And
Is it though?
number 5 is Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Hercules. 3 is Susie. 2 is Amy. Number 1 is Honky Cat.
Yeah.
Mm.
No.
Oh, I can imagine you going around the house and saying to your cats, "You're a honky cat." Yeah, yeah, I know you do. But Chansey, what album did you decide to bring up this week?
I chose Deep Purple's Machine Head
Yeah.
because uh, when it came up, I realized that it had like two of like some of their most noticeable or known and played songs on the same album. It
3, I think. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe even 3,
Yeah.
but it also kind of told a story in a manner of speaking, minus Smoke on the Water, of course, but like Space Trucking and Highways, Highway Star, they're all telling us like a story. But and of course, the guitar playing is epic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The instrumentals are epic. The lyrics are epic.
The keyboard player, what's his name? Alan Page?
I
Alan
think
Page?
that's correct.
Yeah. I always liked for a hard rock band, I always liked they had harmonies. So
Yeah,
I love Deep
but
Purple.
it just so happened that it matched up for the year, and I was like, "Fuck it, sold to the man with gray in his hair."
Yeah.
Well, what did you think, Tenderbastard, of Deep Purple?
I first heard Deep Purple. I think the song "Hush," and it's got a lot of Hammond B3 in it. I think, and that was on 8 track.
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say
was
that was on a
probably
different album though.
I might have been
That
8 or something, but I mean that's when I first heard
I love that
Deep.
song.
I don't know how the 8 track made it into my parents' basement, but it was there, and I put it on. I go hush, hush, ba-da-ba-da-da-ba-da-da-da.
The
But
calling.
I love. I mean, I still go back and can listen to Deep Purple, and again, especially them live. I don't, but I don't have a favorite Deep Purple album. That's why I didn't list them. But what's the first song? Space Truck. No, the first song is Highway Star. Isn't
Yeah,
that it? And
Yeah,
that's a great way. You know something's coming. The way it just blows in, and it's got that intro on it before Donna. Nobody's gonna take my something or other. But I mean, that's a good intro song. And what else do I have on there? Maybe I'm a Leo. I wasn't so crazy about that. Pictures of home. Never before. I didn't have
yep.
as
That
many.
number.
And lazy, and then at the end, this is the album. I would not have been able to guess what album "Smoke on the Water" is on. And then at the end, of course, um, "Space Trucking." I mean, I remember as a kid when I was again probably stoned, and they go, "Let's go space trucking." I'm like, "Okay, I, I'll be tripping without my luggage, sure." Um, I just like them as a band, the way they sound when they all come together. I just like Deep Purple. And do you know the story behind Smoke on the Water? Where somebody burned up the studio. Someone burned a flare. Oh, it's in the lyrics.
it,
Some stupid
it was
flare.
yeah, it was at a venue. There was like Frank Zappa and
Yeah.
Deep Purple and a whole bunch of other people playing, and somebody popped off a flare gun and burnt the whole place to the ground.
Ugh. And where I am not far from Caribou Ranch, which is a famous studio that started in '72. I think the drummer from Chicago owned it because Chicago did. It looks like the name Guercio. I haven't confirmed that, but it looks like that's the drummer's name. And Chicago did 5 albums up there. Michael Jackson recorded there. Elton John did Caribou and Rock of the Westies. And it was the first album. It's the first studio. It's up in Netherlands, right above Boulder, Colorado, and it's the first studio that wasn't in New York City or Los Angeles. And everybody said, no one's going to want to go to the Rocky Mountains to record. And then Joe Walsh was living in Boulder, and his board went out, I guess. And somebody said there's a studio up in Netherlands. And he went up there and he recorded. He had left James Gang, and I guess he was with a trio he was calling it Barnstormer. At least the album is called Barnstormer. And the big song on it that put Caribou Ranch on the map was
Rocky Mountain Way.
Rocky Mountain. Yeah, and then everybody wanted to know about it. Stevie Wonder went up and recorded, and they let Stevie Wonder, because it's on a lot of acres, and they let Stevie Wonder drive a golf cart. I thought that was pretty good. You can't get to the studio. It's got a big gate in front of it. But if you go past it and then you take a left onto a gravel road, you can go up and stand above the studio and look down at the barn. In '83, a little space heater caught on fire. His two daughters were playing. They smelled it and told everybody. But the entire barn didn't burn down, just the studio. But he never put it back together. It was 72 to 83. And I guess he owned it up until 2017, just a couple years. 35 acres, and it sold for $35 million. And I think the studio, someone started it again, because I heard it, a bluegrass musician talking about recording at Caribou Ranch. I assume it's in the same place. I mean, Caribou Ranch didn't move, but is the studio in the barn again? I'm not sure. But I digress. But Machine Head, yeah, not I wouldn't have a favorite Deep Purple album, but I just love Deep Purple, and I've never seen him in concert. Did you ever see him in concert, Chauncey?
Negative. No.
Yeah. And I went to a lot of bands in the early '70s, but I don't remember them touring even. But the Rolling Stones are starting the North American tour this month, April, May, June, and July. So that's going to bring in millions.
Yeah, if you want to see zombies performing, why not? But I mean, it's God to see Mick Jagger on stage now must be like, do they wheel him out first? Like Jesus Christ! But
he's still thin. He's the only one that dyes his hair.
Yeah.
I like the Stones too, but I think my favorite Stones album would be Some Girls, or their greatest hits, where they're all on that castle thing. But
yeah, I don't know enough about the Stones to really say what their albums even. But as far as Deep Purple goes, I mean, I can't say I've ever listened to a Deep Purple album until today. And I mean, I know a lot of their music, of course, because it's fucking Deep Purple. How will you not know their music? And of course, you bring the album with the biggest hit ever on it that every guitar player learns to play first. But
yeah,
that's not true. That's not what I learned how to play first.
I learned to smash my guitar before I learned to play it.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah, that's one of one of the 6 big rock anthems.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Freebird, Sleep on the Water, Stairway to Heaven. I'm forgetting the other 3.
I mean, Stairway to Heaven, that's a fucking accomplishment on guitar.
Hotel California. I've just started listening to Led Zeppelin. I listened to Led Zeppelin 2 this week, and then Zoso too. And John Bonham's drumming is really unique. The syncopations and the fills that he decides to play. But yeah, Smoke on the. That's just. It's got the riff. It's one of the big riff rock anthems. Maybe AC/DC has one too. I can't think of what it would be. But I love AC/DC. Man,
they do. But I mean, like "Smoke on the Water" is one of the first fucking songs in Guitar Hero, so like everybody knows that song. It's been around. It's been around forever. That riff is fucking unforgettable. And I mean, the whole album.
Sweet Jane, Lou Reed's down.
Yeah.
Can you name the members of Deep Purple? I'm trying to think who the singer is, because I know he went on to sing, maybe on Broadway, Jesus Christ Superstar. I'm pretty sure that's.
I don't remember the name of the singer off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure didn't Didn't Richie Blackmore play guitar?
See, I don't remember. Gilmore or something. Gilmore Girls. No, that's not it. Alan Page is on keyboard, and I don't know the other members. But again, I prefer live stuff. I go on YouTube and just punch something in and just
of
check
course.
it out.
I mean, Deep Purple live would be fucking incredible, of course. But I mean, I enjoyed the shit out of the album. It's Deep Purple. How could you not? I mean, there's only one song on here I didn't really care for too much, but other than that, it was just a overall amazing album. You're gonna make
Maybe
me feel that. Lazy. I was not the biggest fan of Lazy. That's what it was. It was lazy. I mean, I get what they were doing there, but still, it just wasn't a song I was a fan of. But
are they still technically a band? Are they together still? Has people died in the band? And
I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about Deep Purple performing a concert in most of my life, so I'm pretty sure not.
Aren't they one of the bands that was together and then they broke up and they got new people or something? The original members got back together and then they broke up and they got back together.
For a short period of time, yeah.
But Deep Purple, I know one of the best rock bands.
I knew they were doing like state fair circuits, like maybe 20 years ago, maybe a little, somewhere in there.
I was playing at the Colorado State Fair in Pueblo, Colorado. I played it 3 times, and the third time I played, and it was always a gig where you were announced, and there'd be about 40 chairs, and there'd be like 8 people sitting there. And then I would always build an audience. By the end, I'd have like 100, 200 people standing around. But the last time I played, they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Tenderbastard," and I started into my first song, "American Boy." Got a rose tattoo and cowboy boots, a car that rides and a gun that shoots. And then really loud on the main stage, they go, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys." And they started up, and I couldn't hear myself the rest of the time. They just, I thought, man, I can't do this anymore. But that was interesting. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys." And it was just, I couldn't hear myself even through the monitors or anywhere. So I didn't really build an audience.
I can imagine. If you're going against the Beach Boys, it's kind of a hard ticket to win. That's taking a second chair automatically.
I never would have imagined that it would be that loud, that they would have some control over the sound, that it wouldn't come over to my, on a little stage. I'm on a side stage, but that's only happened once. And I did show up for 2 gigs. I've showed up for 2 shows a week early. I'm here. They're like, "Yeah, well, come back in a week. Then we'll have you." So, yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. You go, "Man, I drove here. Jesus." So,
well, Chancey, what were your top 5 for your album?
Well, I mean, since there was only 7 on there, I just rated them as was.
Of course.
So, number 7 was Lazy. Number 6 was Maybe I'm a Leo. Number 5 was Never Before. Number 4 was Space Truckin'. Number 3 was Pictures of Home. Number 2 was Smoke on the Water, and number 1 was Highway Star.
I'm a highway star. Yeah. Space Truckin', Highway Star. Yeah, Deep Purple. I love them. I'm going to get a Deep Purple tattoo right on my forehead.
I would be careful doing that. But I mean, all right. Since you did all 7, I could basically do the same because I mean, Lazy is the only one I didn't really put on my list, and that'd be number 7 anyway. So, whatever. It is what it is. But number 6 was Never Before. Number 5 was Maybe I'm a Leo because those 2 were interchangeable though. I mean, they were both great songs, but they weren't like sticking out to me. Number 4 is Smoke on the Water because I mean, it's so played out at this point in my life that I've heard it like 1,000 times, if not more. And it's just like that riff. Like that riff lives in my freaking head rent free my whole life. Like I don't. I mean, it's an amazing song, but it's just so overplayed at this point in life. Like a lot of classic rock songs that are famous, but number 3 was Space Truckin' because that's actually one of the songs I knew, but it's just it's not as played as much. So it's an amazing song still when you hear it. Number 2 was Highway Star because I don't think I've heard that before. I might have. I honestly don't know. It sounds familiar, but it's an amazing fucking song.
You would have probably seen it on the commercials for like Rock Band. Nobody's gonna take my car because I'm gonna burn it to the ground.
Oh, okay. I've heard heavier versions of that song that I haven't heard. Like I never heard the original. Yeah, because a lot of bands have redone that. I'm guessing.
Probably.
Yeah, but and my number 1 was Pictures at Home, mainly for that opening drum solo. That opening drum solo was fucking phenomenal. So, and that song's amazing. Like that song's what I definitely didn't know, and it was freaking incredible. So I'm happy I got to hear it. So, but yeah, I mean overall, classic.
Good.
Overall, amazing classic rock album. Overall, I mean all 3 of these technically are, but I mean just freaking incredible. And Deep Purple,
Machine Head is 37 minutes. Ziggy Stardust is 42, and I wonder how long Honky Cat is. Probably Honky Cat has 12 songs on it, so it's probably the longest album.
I think it was like 47 minutes. I don't think it was that long because some of his songs are shorter.
Yeah, like Deep Purple, it was like somewhere around 45 minutes or something like that.
Because I mean,
Machine Head's 37 minutes. I checked it out. That's why.
Yeah, Deep Purple. Elton John's kind of the opposite. Elton John and Ziggy were kind of the opposite of Deep Purple. They wrote the shorter songs. Deep Purple liked to stick to like the 6-7 minute songs, which is for their genre of rock. That's kind of their thing. That's what they do is those longer songs, but kind of like the style Metallica would eventually take. But so yeah, folks, we brought you 3 amazing rock albums from '72, and it's been a theme lately for us to do '70s year episodes. I mean, just been a theme. It happens. Guests bring an album, and that's the way it goes. And it's actually served us pretty well the last month or two. So no complaints here for it. That's for damn sure. But Tenderbastard, we want to thank you for coming on. It's been a blast talking to you, dude. Your music industry knowledge is fucking phenomenal.
Keep it tender. Tenderbastard. Yeah. So well, thanks, man. I mean, I saw your podcast. I'm like, yeah, let's go talk about music. I listen to all kinds of music. I just go out and listen to classical, just everything. World music, different play, throat singers from Tibet, or just anything. Putumayo has all those ethnic albums, and just I'll just listen. Things come up in my feed. I was listening to Aerosmith live in '78 earlier today. I kind of take an artist and just listen to them over and over again. But thanks, man. I was like, let's talk about music. Yeah.
Well, definitely. That's what we do here, and fuck around and find out type shit. But I mean, we mainly talk about music. But where can they find your book?
Oh, I was going to say that. Tenderbastard.com. You can listen to my songs there, my screenplays. You can read them. You can watch Moon Over Mangroves, my New York City stage play. I've run musical Let It Be Christmas. There's a teaser for it, only the short part. And my other novels are on there. And my dog, Georgia, that just passed last August, she inspired me to write her memoir, Thank You for Being My Boy. We swam in the ocean in Key West. We climbed to the Continental Divide. We met the mayor of Denver, Mayor Hickenlooper. We met him again when he was Governor Hickenlooper. She had breakfast with Senator Ben Nighthorse Campbell, the only Native American member of Congress ever. And the best anecdote about her is people say my dog can catch a frisbee, my dog can run an agility course. My dog, Georgia, found marijuana and brought it to me. That's a good dog. That's a true story. We ran up on 2 bear in southern Colorado, and they looked at us and thought we were scary, this little Beagle Terrier and me, and they ran away. I'm like, wow. And my dog was like, I like always showed them. I'm like, babe, we almost got killed. You almost got eaten by a bear. So that's her novel. That's a great reach. I'm glad I started it right. I started writing it in my voice, and it just wasn't interesting or fun to read or fun to write. And when I wrote it in her voice, much better. It's the way she looked at our world. And she was a stray. She came crashing in my life. So she's like the whole time, the moment she met me, I was her boy. And she always wanted, we worked together. She used to go on stage with me. If you look up Moon Over Mangroves on the website, my New York City play, you will see her and I on stage at the beginning because I wrote the title song for it. But yeah, tenderbastard.com. And there's all kind of stuff there. More book, like I said, books and all kind of things. That was
Go
a
check it
long
out,
answer.
folks.
That was
Oh
the
no,
long
it's
answer.
perfectly fine, man. Perfectly fine. I told you to promote, you promote. That's the point. And
Yeah.
of course, listeners, that link will be in the description of the podcast to go click and go to. Make it easier for you. And Chance the Rapper, where can they find you besides the Void, punishing the wicked?
Well, Instagram and TikTok is the Red Eye Roundtable. X is Red Eye Table. Facebook, that's my first name. If you can find me, if it hasn't been brought already, you can pick an album and I'll bring it on your behalf, regardless of the choice.
I'm still waiting until someone fucks you and makes you bring Britney Spears, but or Backstreet Boys or something funny. But well, folks, you can find both your musers on Facebook as the ever-growing, uncensored, untamed, and unapologetic podcast collective, U Cubed. You can find us on the Gram and XXBaby as Bastard. You can find us on TikTok as Bastard Podcast. And you can find us on YouTube, where this is streaming as Maniacal Music Musings. And of course, we are always found on Facebook, streaming on the Parapost Network, great home for all podcasts and podcasts. And we are also a proud member of the Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge was blind until you pick up that honky cat. So come check us out next Tuesday for another amazing episode with another amazing guest. And be sure to check out the Rolling Stone bracket, Top 500 Songs bracket, part 11, a week from this Saturday. Until next time, your musers are out. Have a good night, everybody.